So I'd now like to invite on stage Nishit Srivastava, Executive Vice President and Chief Technology and Innovation Officer, India, Capgemini, to present on the role of corporates in driving entrepreneurial innovation. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Nishit. Over to you.
Thank you for that warm welcome. I knew I was always a crowd puller, and looks the occupancy rate might be, 10% right now. Nevertheless, we'll try to make most of what we've got here. Thank you so much for being here, as each one of you is really important. Please do not take breaks, okay? I only have 20 minutes. I can't deal with any fewer people. Okay, and right, I seem to be drifting in and out. You're good? Okay. It is breaking. Okay. No, it's okay. All right. So thank you so much for having me. My name is Nishit, as I was introduced. A little bit about, that's the topic that I am to talk about. I have, a lot of years behind me. I know I look very young. You can't even take a guess, how many years I do. And I can't work these little things, unfortunately. So that's the topic, right? Entrepreneurial innovation. I don't know innovation by any other term, but nevertheless, that's the topic I was given. I figured, let me just look into the dictionary. Entrepreneurial implies those things, risk taker, right? Passion, tireless, resilience, vision. And when you look at a bee, right, that gives you that feeling, right? And I chose that particular picture deliberately because you've got the pollen, right? It's about symbiotic relationship. It's about the ability of a tiny creature which actually practically creates the food ecosystem that we all survive on, right? But on the other hand, while the bees make honey, remember that the flower, the primary plant, gets to propagate its species only because of that, because the pollen propagates, right? Because of the bee. And that's symbiosis. The other word, did it change? No, it didn't. My steps for the day might go up today. Innovation. An octopus, right? Curiosity, creativity, adaptability, tentacular. How many of you are students from IIM Bangalore present batch? Tentacular, it's a portmanteau. Would you like to take a guess what that is? I just made it up. So tentacles and spectacular, I figure it's a nice word to use, an original signature Nishit word. All right, so a bit about me, other than the fact that I've spent weekends here in these hallowed corridors on weekends, doing things I'd rather not talk about. I am, as the image might suggest, a man who's done a lot of things, right? I have been a startup guy half my life. Okay, in the enterprise world for the other half, today I am an end enterprise, but building startups within the company. I've been, for the most part, a sales guy, selling hardware to people who I couldn't communicate with many, many years ago, in the SMB segment, when Chennai was still Madras, UP Bhaiya, right, trying to sell to the smaller market. Learned a lot. Ability to communicate and use gesticulations emphatically. Enterprise, where I cut my teeth into the financial services world for the first time. Strategic marketing, I was part of the team that, amongst many things, did the famous Wipro logo move to the rainbow flower, the previous version. Haji Bhai Sahab? Product manager, enterprise software applications, managing, for companies brilliantly. None of them survive, actually, unfortunately. No thanks to me. The companies like Sun Microsystems, stop laughing, it's embarrassing. Sun Microsystems, Netscape, iPlanet, these were billion-dollar enterprises in the years that they existed. They all died. I'm not responsible for that. But I was a bachelor in those days. My roommate was I'm Bangalore guy, and the only person on the planet who was unhappy when he heard that I'm getting married, because he had to vacate. We didn't really earn a lot, in those days, even if you were an I'm Bangalore guy. Um, and then I quit my job to start in end of 99. That belies my age somewhat, but nevertheless, my first co-founder was another I Am Bangalore guy. And then when we launched in January of 2000, in 2 months' time, we had the dot-com bubble burst. So you can imagine I stand here in front of you, severely battle-scarred. I have so many scars on my body, I'm almost unrecognizable, the chameleon, yeah? I needed to adapt. At every point in my life, when venture capital funds disappeared from the face of the earth, practically, all but a few were left, 90% of the startups vanished. We picked up millions in that year as venture capital funding. One of the VCs also was an I Am Bangalore guy, as it happens. I keep stringing the story for a reason, I Am Bangalore being the place where today I stand humbly in front of you. And I'll explain why. Because the buzzword today, GPT-3, 4, ChatGPT, right, coming out of years now, is what we call connectivity-based AI. It's about connecting these dots, right? Creating stories, imagining new connections, new narratives, right? That's what we do, don't we? I mean, you say, give me a baby's nursery rhyme in Shakespeare style, it'll do it, right? How will it do it? It'll do it that way. However, there is another version, right? The way we are born as infants, we don't know how to read things, right? It's intuitive, right? We take shapes and forms and symbols, and we create our own learning model, which is more intuitive. It's actually called GoFi in the circles, good old-fashioned AI. We've actually drifted away a little bit. Might be, it's not a temporary blip, but we'll get there. Innovation is a topic for today, isn't it? So let me get to that. So the corporate's role, okay. Corporates, right? Sorry about my dark humor there. But when in the startup world, people look at an enterprise, and I've been there, right, half my life looking at my colleagues, my old batchmates from IIT, doing the startups, right? We look at enterprises as what? As these big, ugly beasts. But don't think that they are slow or mean. They rule. They rule. When it comes to the hunt, you watch out. Because they move so swiftly, it's unbelievable. You bat an eyelid, you're gone. At least your right arm or something, yeah? But on the other hand, it knows when to work together, right? It needs to continue. There are parasites in its mouth, which happens. It doesn't brush its teeth every morning like I do. So you've got this beautiful bird there, right? Called the plover, which helps it along. It doesn't do anything to it, right? It's symbiotic. And we talk about symbiotic existence, plenty of those examples in nature. Why am I talking about it? Because we all cohabit this thing, the ecosystem. Okay, when we talk about entrepreneurial innovation, right? So you got the ecosystem of startups and incubators and academia and whatnots. The image there, maybe some of you might recognize. Any parallel that comes to mind? The choice of image. Would you know? Do you know that the meerkat and the warthog? Yeah, right. Anybody remembers the names? You remember that guy who's incidental here. Those other two? That's right. Okay, so, Time On, actually, and Pumbaa, right? And then you've got that, and, the guy didn't look very pretty, but Disney made those characters really adorable, right? And that's a narrative. Innovation, entrepreneurship, everything is about dreams, it's about passion, it's about creativity, it's about taking things to people, to the masses in a manner that changes the world. It's probably one of the best movies of all times, at least in my dictionary. Maybe I'm the wrong guy here because I Powerpuff Girls here. I don't know if any of you has followed. Whew. Okay, so innovation is the chemical X, right? It's that magical potion, right? That gets you going, right? The superpowers. What does innovation lead to? You're talking about ushering in competitive advantage. I've got some examples there. Please read them. Develop new markets. You know this already. Adapt to changing market dynamics, right? And the fourth one, bringing societal change, is the reason why I'm here today. Because had it not been for that, through my colleague here, sitting Mr. Anurag Pratap right in the front, where we work very, very closely with IIM Bangalore, social. We work in a manner that it is one-to-many correspondence. It's not one-on-one necessarily, although we do that too, right? So bringing in large-scale impact, right, is the thing about innovation. And the idea is, to create and surf these waves of disruption. There's so many things that we can do in the world. Already you found, in the previous slide, you'll see ChatGPT, right? It's doing things that are unimaginable, right? There was a session yesterday, Microsoft. Did you attend that? Insane, right? I think it's just extraordinary what it can do. I'm very, very excited about it. That's my job also, by the way. Yeah. So look, the startups are doing all kinds of things in sustainability, in ed tech, in health tech, in fintech. All kinds of intelligence sitting here in NSRCEL, for example. You will get a lot of intelligence on where the money is flowing, what the new trends are. Sometimes you have to look at the edges to see where the center is shifting to, right? It's the ability of one to spot the shift in that center that makes you the extraordinary entrepreneur. You just flow with the tide, and that alone, I'm not sure if you'll be able to surf the wave because the wave changes. So, and therefore, you'll find that 90% of the startups fail. Whoever creates a startup anywhere in the world, this is not India, this is globally, across industries, 10% don't even get past the first year. Yeah? Well, some of them come and work with me, actually. I have a lot of love for failed entrepreneurs, a lot of love. The character that they display is extraordinary. Yeah? 30% of the startups, even with venture capital, fail. So it's not really about the money, is it? And only that? You'll find that, in order to support them, right, there's talent problem. Last year, strangely, one of the startup founders in Bangalore, he calls me and said, Nishit, I need help. Last year, you would recognize that the talent market has completely gone berserk, right? 1 year, Python guy was asking 20 lakh salary, or I don't know, some strange numbers. I still don't earn that much. But, the thing is, this guy calls me, Nishit, can you help me? Oh, yeah, sure. He's doing some really clever stuff. Actually, he's doing, before the launch of ChatGPT, his startup does a lot on generative AI, GPT-3 in particular. So, there's one of the Capgemini people who I've hired is not joining me. Can you help? Bloody hell. You're talking about one of my colleagues. Are you out of your bloody mind? Right, but that's the complexity. That's the challenge of the talent market last year, but it's abated now, right? But, the world comes together to solve whatever problems they can, and I am so sorry. Common reasons for failure. You've heard this plenty times, but my only thing here is that, guys, look, it's not about the money alone. In fact, it's a very chotu proportion there, right? Your team problems are big a lot. Get a team. Get that right. Product market fit. Me, my colleagues, we mentor a lot of these startups here in NSRCEL. I'm also a mentor on a few IITs. ISB, etc., right? And I am so amazed and aghast, actually, frankly, at the absolutely low level of intellect they display. They have no idea what product market fit means. They like an idea, they want to do it, it doesn't go very far outside of their dorm, rubbish. So I have a hard time trying to explain to them that profit is actually a thing. You know, market is a thing. Marketing, look at it, right? They don't get it, right? So there's only a few, right? But in the journey of failures, I have learned that in my dictionary, most valuable failures have played an extraordinary role. I mean, well, in my case, it's a very big tome. I've made so many failures. I'm so proud of it. I'm not sure why I should be in front of you, but yeah, I'm everything. Okay, I made micro failures. I made macro failures, and every one of them made me successful, more successful. Right? So that's something which I want to dwell on. It's an absolute necessity for enterprises and startups and academia, everybody, to do their bit, okay, in terms of innovation. Today in Capgemini, I do it. I build the kind of stuff that you can dream about, from post-quantum cryptography to decentralized finance to GPT-4 to immersive reality to combination of all of these, tokenization, you name it. I do all of it. Amazing stuff, globally. Guess what? I am able to sell it also. Clients come, thousands of them come to India every year. We blow their minds. It is about relevance. If I don't do it, right, somebody else will. And then there's the startup world, which is innovating, like I mentioned. So is there a confluence? That's the topic. Yes, yeah. I think, sorry about the display. I thought I was being very clever with the spelling of immersed. It's IIM, immersed. It's not visible, sorry. Okay, but we're immersed in the world of startups in so many different ways. Of course, we partner with them and collaborate with them and actually take them to very, very large clients, but also we fund them. In fact, we don't only fund startups, we fund funds. We are a corporate venture capital also. So there are a few venture capital funds where we are LPs. So we participate with accelerators, and NSRCEL is just one example. We work with a few others here. There's plenty others globally that we work with. Many of the startups in our portfolio are now unicorns. Nice. I'm on the board, of the venture capital fund. It's a delight to be able to see the kind of ideas that exist, work with them, and they become unicorns. So from an entrepreneurial thing, yes, on the one hand, but on the other side, as being a VC, I feel like a mummy here, So, it's almost like that, right? It's extraordinary. The feeling is amazing, it's your own, right? And so on, right? We do a lot of things in events, etc. So why are we even relevant, okay, as an enterprise today, right? Two startups, okay? So thought leadership, right? There's things for both. There's a symbiosis. It's not that I just give, I receive. The only thing is I should learn to give before I expect to receive. That's the only philosophy. I think it's a very, very, very deep philosophy. So that's why we start giving. And eventually, the wave of things coming in accelerates. So thought leadership about future-proofing product strategy. We worked with SAP Labs, for example, very large-scale enterprise play, right? Everybody in the world, right? But their model, the business model, is very likely getting disrupted. How do you preserve it? It's not just cohort of startups sitting and you funding them for a chotu thingy. This is getting into the very product roadmap of those startups across industries. It's not a joke. Requires a depth of understanding that is quite extraordinary. And so on. It's a great springboard for ideas. I'm able to help. Many of these ideas may not go very far or very swiftly somewhere, but frankly, elsewhere, which you may not have seen, right? It may have great relevance with some small tweaks. And financial support, of course, scaling up and sustaining it. Many of our clients want to work with startups, but the commercial liability is not something they want to pick up, right? Not the clients. Imagine any large insurance company. They won't take out the liability. We work together, right? So make it work for both of us and for our clients. All right. Okay. Come on. NSRCEL, we're doing a lot. I need to get my own batteries the next time, I think. So we do a lot. I presently engaged with, for the last 3 years actually, right? Of course, funding the money, but importantly, and I think that's more important, a lot of my colleagues are mentors across industries, across technologies. We spend a lot of time, right? And then plenty other things. So the key message is disrupt or get disrupted, okay? And sometimes in the journey to disrupt, we get disrupted ourselves, right? That's the only reality. Very recently, we all got disrupted, we think, right? So that number is now more than many, many thousands, actually. That relates, of course, to ChatGPT, right? Elon Musk, Steve Wozniak, plenty others, right? Luminaries that we hear about are asking, "Ruk jao, please hold it, right? Let's get a grip on it." It's not happening. You know, in 6 months, nothing will change. But nevertheless, the fear is real. Okay, and what are they saying? Okay, a lot of people actually go online. They're saying AI will not replace you. Those that use AI will. Yeah, you know, it's an old jungle saying, like I said, right? Shakespeare said it. He also said, "What's in a name?" I think not, okay? I really don't think. And every time a technology comes along, there are doomsayers. On this occasion, I agree, admit, bigger probability maybe, but human capacity, okay? Remember, I mean, we are who we are over 100 million years, okay? We've evolved. It's not a joke. What is true, though, is evolution is accelerating. So what took the first 100 million, okay, for a single cell to become multicellular or a two-cell organism and thereon, right? That part is accelerating now. But it's still in millions of years, for Christ's sakes, right? So point is, and you know, somewhere there, where in the middle, 95, you'll see there's a human thingy there, right? That small biomass of brain that is there in all of you is capable of quite extraordinary things. In fact, the density of neurons that you're talking about is just mind-blowing. I mean, you can't ChatGPT, generative AI, GPT-4, what do they have? Right? I mean, look at being a human, and I've just taken a logical, I just wanted to talk about some aspects of being a human. Everything that we do, and I'm just taking a different dimension, okay? I'm not asking you to create something here. But whatever you do will appeal to something or the other here, in one respect or the other. Cognition, intelligence, your speech, your language, all of those things. Yes, it is true that AI is going to automate a lot of that, without a doubt. There's plenty more, right? Where there is subliminal learning, which is very, very difficult to quantify. Today, neurotechnology, for the last maybe about 70, 80 years now, they've been trying to understand how we retrieve information from inside our heads, right? The thing is that it is getting scarier. Neurotechnology is getting to a place where the free will itself is threatened a little bit, maybe. You get data from China if you want. Neurological data. That's not the right word, actually. Neural. So basically, what they've done is you wear these headsets, and the headsets have electrodes, okay? And through these electrodes, as you're playing a game, a video game or something, they're picking up electrical impulses from inside your cranium. 8 electrodes, 12. Neural link is an implant. Okay, so it's inside your head, your cranium. But don't worry about it. It's coming to your home very soon. Yeah. It'll have electrodes, and you'll buy more. I want more electrodes. 8 was scary for me. It became 12. I'm not sleeping easy. You'll want more. It's actually the human curiosity and the next generation which will drive that. You can't help it. It'll happen. They will pick up electrical signals. They rise up to the cranium. How many more minutes? 5 minutes. Next time, he will just think it and I'll know, it's happening, it's going to happen. But nevertheless, but the reason I brought it up is because the whole concept of free will, okay, may get, let's say, may change a little bit. So it is getting worrisome in that sense. Imagine between two countries and you're doing stuff electrochemically or electromagnetically, entire army changes their mind on the battlefield. No, that's a reality, okay? In the future, not now. But being human, right? We have, every one of us, about 86 billion neurons, each neuron about 7,000 synapses together. It works out to about 1 trillion, data points. Okay, quadrillion, 1,000 trillion. Okay, GPT-4 is ostensibly about 1 trillion, and you can't train it anymore because the web's already been trained, right? And you can't train it on its own output. The lady is sleeping. I like that. No, that's fine. It's post-lunch. Right? The point is that it's very, very long distance before we come anywhere near what our minds contain. When we remember something, it's a method of retrieval, which probably takes, in today's AI technology, maybe 7, 8 layers of neural networks to even get there. Those many petabytes of data in each molecule of a DNA. Have you heard of entire data centers coming in a DNA vial? Anybody? Synthetic biology. It's happening. Terabytes of data in a test tube. As DNA. Capgemini is developing it, by the way. It's my plug there. But we do these kinds of things, very, very smart things. Yeah? So there is nothing to be afraid of. There's only opportunity. If you ask me, what's coming to you now is an incredible opportunity to magnify each of these facets of what makes us human. We don't use even a very little fraction of what we have. Imagine, IIM Bangalore, fine, you're amongst the best, maybe the top 0.0 some percent. What about the rest of them, What about the below average student or the average student? At every grade, you're raising their intellectual capacity. What you can do with that intellectual capacity is going to drive the knowledge economy in a fashion that is hitherto unknown and unimaginable. So basically, have fun. It's a great time to be, in this world. Thank you so much for having me. I'll get this off. I wasn't even able to whisper, with this on. Oh, questions. Yeah, sorry. No out of syllabus questions, please. We didn't even plant fake questions here. Come on.
I would like to know what is Capgemini doing to encourage entrepreneurs? How are they?
I had a full slide.
In tangible terms, as in how can startups make use of whatever you're doing?
So, if you're working with an academia like the one here, right, NSRCEL, we work with the incubator. Like T-Hub is one. There's others, plenty others that we work with, not just in India, globally, right? So in that way, we connect. In fact, there's many to many correspondence there. A lot of us as individuals, not just a single entity, connect with the many startups. We work with VC firms. We are a VC firm ourselves, right? Also, so we're just part of a fraternity, maybe, which connects us to a lot of startups. There was a slide I talked about applied innovation exchanges that we have, where we cohabit with these startups, work with them, make them enterprise ready.
How does one apply to such programs?
What kind of program? So look, if you, it
Acceleration
starts
program.
with an email, okay? If you're doing something noteworthy and fit, so look, there are broadly two buckets that we will engage on, okay? One is the enterprise commercial side. The other one is everything that's sweet and beautiful in earth and humanity and happiness, right? The CSR world. Depending on where you are, there's two paths. You ask me which one I should talk about, I can respond. The enterprise one. The enterprise one, all you need to do is get in touch with me or my team, and we will take it from there. It's as simple as that.
Thank you. Can we have your coordinates?
Send him a mail. No. You have NSRCEL. We are working for the last 3 years with an entire cohort of startups, okay? Just, okay, time up.
I have one question up here.
Next is bouncers coming, he says, yeah.
What is your opinion on AI disrupting the methods of teaching, especially up to K-12?
Amazing. And I spoke about below average and above average, and those are students. The teachers, the whole tutelage system. One, of course, your ability to do micro-learning, which is as a Sigma micro-learning, what you can modulate, the content to suit the learning quotient of the student. And you can do it personalized now. So instead of an entire lot of 35, 50 kids or whatever you have in the class, right, it can be personalized to everybody's ability. The other thing is, quantum of, content there, right? The other thing is, teachers are being trained in skills which they have never had access to. It's only going to get better. I mean, there is no, yes, you will go and ask the same question, okay, into ChatGPT and, do the whatever, but your intellect level, in my view, is coming up very, very fast. So if you've got a very young child, great time.